There you go. So, as far as the age range, so our youngest, I was just telling Amber, um, that our youngest is 3.5, our Nathan, and he is very, very, very active. His answers, him and his sister actually, are always giving
Are you muted?
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Now I can.
Okay, my I hit the red button and the whole internet went out. But anyway, the youngest is 3.5, and the oldest right now, because some of the kids have gone on vacation and all of that good stuff. I think she's 11, and some are at summer camp. So the oldest is 11 for the girl. I think Bailey's 11, or she could be 13. But yeah. So if you have older children, we do have some that have signed up as old as 15. The lessons are not like, I don't keep them like in a grievance, I guess. So it's kind of age appropriate. There you go. So like younger children can stay engaged and the older children, because that's how I see everybody anyway, is like your younger child is going to always be your foundation. um so I keep it pretty open, and it's not horribly like bad, but they'll be able to learn aside 3 year olds. There you go. So even though he's 3, he kind of, his mom knew, that he was the youngest. So it's geared at like, everybody. So it's not something that's like, oh my goodness, it's a okay. Yeah, so it's not like, that people will be handled, differently just because their age. There we go. But she says she'll be right back. Are you still here? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay. 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 So we're gonna jump into it. The disc. Oh wait, here's someone else. Probably needs to join in. Um. Okay. So we're gonna jump into our discussion, you guys. Some people are still at work. They told me, so they'll join in as they trickle out of work. Um. But we're just gonna jump into the discussion. So basically, let me see if I can share the screen. Um. Okay. I should be able to share the screen. Oops. Okay. Just so we can have our reference here. Can you guys see that?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So yeah. So anyway, okay. So basically, this was inspired through the Holy Spirit. So I wanted to talk about marriage. I'm not married myself, so to me, it doesn't really matter. If you're married or you're not married, we're all married to the Most High God. So I take that back. But anyway, so the man, the woman, and the seed. So this is to help people get their minds focused on marriage being a family thing and not just a one-sided argue and agree type of situation. So marriage situations and how to overcoming them. I don't have anything ill to say ever or anything against anybody's way, but this is to help people get a closer understanding of just exactly what marriage can and will do for you. So we're going to talk about polymarriage or single marriage, which is like obviously only one, so one woman, one man, which is the correct way to even have a marriage. It really shouldn't be. We'll go deeper into that. Then we'll go into virgins versus harlots, and then with children or without children, and more. If anybody has anything else that they would want to be adding. So I did take a couple of notes, but I guess I'll just open it up or start by um, asking sisters who are here. So Amber and are we calling you Lovey or are we calling you Royal?
Shalom. So you can call me Regal or Royal Sunshine, one of those. It doesn't matter. I mean, it does
This is
matter, but you know, one of those names.
okay. Here we go. Okay, all praises. So, are you guys married or are you single?
I'm not married.
You're not married. Can
Currently,
you hear
no.
me?
Yes, currently, no.
Okay. Okay. Wait. Hold on.
Apparently.
I'm gonna switch my audio to my phone because this thing. Okay. Can you repeat that?
I'm single. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. So,
Okay.
okay, so I think I was speaking for
Okay.
just a second.
Yes. Go ahead.
I said currently I'm not. I was married before, but I'm not. I'm no longer
Okay.
married. Hmm.
Okay. All praises. What about Amber? Are you married?
No, I'm not.
Okay. So that's okay. So I love it. Okay. So that means we're kind of a little bit unbiased. So we're coming from a different standpoint. But I do know a married sister will be joining us very soon. But either way it goes, we're just gonna kind of hop into it. So our first conversation is kind of uh geared at something that actually did happen to me too. But the Holy Spirit has given me revelation about the situation. And if y'all hear me, I am literally drinking this popsicle because it is so warm outside. Um, but anyway, poly marriage, does it matter how many wives a man truly has? So do we all know what poly marriage is and um where that situation or where that conversation actually stems from?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I guess like my definition or how I would explain poly marriage is so in righteousness, so like when you look up the word polygamy, it means that a man takes more than one woman and keeps them as his wife. In the righteousness though is where I feel like it needs to be retweaked and it needs to be positioned and stationed in the understanding that multiple marriages is to be singly married multiple times. So a lot of brothers don't listen to that part, but you have to be single eyed while you're in multiple different marriages. So, things that I have seen um, with the poly marriages, hold on, let me put that right there, is that a lot of the men will technically want to get married. So okay, I'm gonna just throw out this example. The most recent example is a brother sent me a friend request. Um, I think I commented on one of his videos because whatever, and he told me that he asked me that I want to be his second wife. Now I said I'm not second wife made. I'm first wife made. So he was like, I just think you cute, whatever. He did not even I'm not gonna say he didn't prove me, but he doesn't know me, but he asked me to be his wife. Now, this is a tradition that I keep seeing that keeps happening is that men will just ask the woman, "Do you want to be my wife?" And then after that, he wants to prove if that is the woman that he wants, right? So it's like for me, when you're wanting me to be your second wife, I'm seeing a huge red flag is that you probably aren't happy with your first wife. No matter how much you're trying to portray it, you're not happy with the first wife, right? So you're not technically proving anything until after they give you a yes or a no, right? So the thing that threw me off, and I've seen it before, but for it to meet me, and I'm not somebody that's really searching for that. We was just friends, but anyway, or not even that we were just friends, but we were people who were looking at the same thing. So he what do you call it? He said my wife thinks that you will be a great sister wife. So I'm like, okay, not only have you just asked me if I want to be your second wife, but you have now told me that your first wife is involved. So the thing why I said I'm gonna tell you about the most recent is because the first time that this happened, a man was extremely, extremely, and still is not happy with his first wife. So he technically um made a issue out of so many things, and he's a part of a WFI camp. But he made a issue out of the fact that I did not want his first wife involved in a possible union between me and him. So what ended up happening was that first time he was trying to prove me for his woman. He was trying to prove me for if I was going to be happy with his woman. So this whole idea of polymarriage, it really needs to be reiterated that polymarriages are not a union between a man and his first wife with another woman in righteousness. Now, in the world, they do stuff like that, but where we're keeping it at, which is in righteousness, um, that's what I'm seeing way too often. So when he said that the second brother, who was also, he's an ex-member of WFI, two totally different accounts, two totally different WFI camps. But I just mentioned that, because I just being transparent, but it's obviously a culture that is developing, um, that is very offensive. And honestly, there's no way to prove this, right? That sister wife spirit or my wife thinks that you will be a great wife. So, as far as I'm concerned, if your first wife can bear children, there's no need to get another wife. Or you just kind of got to hear it like that. So, the or not she. So he sent me pictures of her, the second one. So I'm like, okay. So it got very, very cult like, very trying to recruit me, showing me pictures of his wife and his son, showing me all of these things like that made no sense. So I'm like, you have shown her pictures of me. So now I'm like, okay, now. So I told him, I'm like, well, if your wife wants to be friends, we can do that. But I don't need to marry you in order for your wife to communicate with me. So he was like, what is you talking about? You sound weird. What you mean, first wife? And what you mean, sister wife? And I'm like, it's just there for me, so I don't see where I'm her sister wife, because to me that's like the woman is the wife of another woman. So it doesn't make any sense. But anyway, with the subject of polygyny or polygamy or however they have said it, um poly is a man has options in the same home. So it is something that is so disgusting, because a lot of these women, like women used to reach out to me because I used to be very verbal about this, and they still can, but they used to reach out to me and they used to ask me or tell me about their situation. I'm not going to disclose any names, but there was one woman who kept saying that she felt stupid because she is a nurse and she basically became their money source. So I have seen that way too often, where a man and his woman are actually recruiting money, which is like oh, go ahead, Amber. It says you raise your hand.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know I had did that. I was just trying to react because I've heard
Oh,
that story before.
oh yeah. So she said that she didn't know how to move forward. Mm, Her parents didn't know she moved away. Um, and she moved into a house, or a room in their house. Now, if she eventually likes it, it's okay, but her mind doesn't want it. So either way it goes, she is definitely still their money source. She helps pay the bills. So a lot of the times, women who join polygyny join these situations where a man wants them to work, and a lot of the times the man is not staying versed in the verses, right? Because a woman is to stay at home, to cook and like take care of the house. So when they say a woman is to stay at home, that means like you kind of go out and work and she kind of, stays inside the house cooking and cleaning. Or if you have maids that do that, you don't really want your wife anyway. But a lot of the times these brothers aren't understanding. So she asked me like what should she do, because he uh he was about to go. So his first wife was pregnant and he loves his first wife. Now that's a even bigger red flag, is that she's pregnant and she's his favorite wife, and you are coming in after as a non-favorite. So a lot of the times the women who are second to their husbands, it gets very Muslim to me. So in the Muslim community, uh they actually the people who are from the Japheth or Yapath, they rank like that. So they have a ranking system with their wives. He might buy the first one a brand new Bugatti, and then the second one might have a 2000. What is this year? He might get her the rarest Toyota Camry, right? Like she'll still be above somebody else, but she'll have a Camry. Another one might have a 3-bedroom house, and the first one has a 18-bedroom mansion. So he basically tells people that that is his favorite, vagina to kind of enter, and that these other women, they not taken care of, but it's kind of like where you go into that you can't reduce their raiment. So a lot of the things that I'm seeing is that even the Muslim people who are like kind of doing it a little bit cleaner, um, if she is in her own 3-bedroom home with her 2025 Toyota Camry, with the sunroof and electric high whatever kind of amenities, she's still, in her own raiment. So he can't technically next year, next car, get her a Toyota Camry 2018. Even though that's better for a lot of people, he would need to continue to get her that rare, very rare car. And then the woman with the Bugatti, obviously he can't get her in a 1998 whatever it could, and it could be even like that, because if you have a 1998 Cadillac or something that's super rare, then is that a reducing? So it kind of gets a little bit more technical, but it just depends on if you put a price in a year in the newness, then you would not want to reduce her to something older than what she has, which is weird because the cars all kind of have the same engine, Cadillac converter, all of those things. But I'm just saying that is how they kind of do it. So when the men are for these polygamous relationships, and they're just grabbing women in order to they're just grabbing up women in order to help their houses, and in order to uh kind of help their, somebody trying to join, no, uh and help them pay the bills. There's no law or account in the Bible that supports that. So a lot of people veer off from the Bible when it comes to these marriages, period. So it's just like a way to like keep help women keep uplifted, and to honestly tell them they're not really bound uh to their husband in the capacity that a Israelite woman was. So that's where I kind of put in the subject of virgin versus non-virgin, so as far as I'm concerned, the poly marriages are not really for the most high kingdom. It's more so like a breeding ground. If she's salaried as a nurse and your other wife is a stay-at-home mom, um, her name is on the house, the first wife. But basically, like, it's like where do brothers begin to see the difference between their wife and their maidservant, or something you just want in your house as extra help for your wife to have what she wants? So, oh, you did go up. Okay. So, basically, like, do you guys have anything or any input on these poly marriages, or people who pretend that, polygamous marriage is something that is deeply, deeply detrimental for even the women to accept them, or they won't get the kingdom?
I have something I would like to share.
Okay.
Okay. So I actually lived in a poly marriage before.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, so I lived it. Um, and I lived it as being the first wife. Um, I would say, from my experience, it's pros and
Oh, wait, I
cons
couldn't hear
to
you.
it. Of course, this is before I said it's pros and cons. This is before I became an Israelite, though. Um, so it's pros and
Oh,
cons
okay.
to a poly marriage, but it is a lot. Um, I feel like a lot of competition that happens in those type of lifestyles. Not saying for me, but from my experience, I was the first wife. I was the one with the children. The second one, she didn't have any children, but it almost seemed like she was like very jealous, had like this jealous demeanor. Um, we had our own separate, homes, but then there were times when she'll come over and stay at my house. Um,
Mhm.
and so I just kind of found like, because she didn't have, any children. I mean, I had my children with them, like we have four children together, so my children, of course, then me, I was running my own childcare business and everything. So it seemed like he wanted to spend more time with her because she had more freedom, although she was older than I, But I would say that that's just totally not a righteous type of lifestyle. Um, if overall, I would say no. Me totally no. I would never ever do it again. Um, when I say pros and cons to it, the things that was enjoyable about that lifestyle. If yes, okay, you can have a sister that you can relate to. You guys go, shopping together, things of that nature. And she did help out a lot with the household chores and things. Not that I asked her to, that was something that she was willing to do. But along with that, she wanted to really get to know the ins and outs about me so that way she can see how she can utilize the information about me, my personal life, my personal family, um, you know, my ups and downs, what makes me shine, what makes me flaws, and kind of like was using those things against me in some type of, bragging type of way because I didn't come from a close knit family and she, has a very, well supported family system. So, I'll just say for self-esteem purposes, for some women, I totally wouldn't advise it. And then the men become very lustfully, hungry in this type of appetite, and it just gives them the ground so they feel like they can just be lustful instead of taking on their wife, not for lust, but for everything else that a marriage is. Like nowadays, like all they just wanted some extra booty, and that was kind of almost like the thing. It seemed like he had this more lustful type of, behavior and attitude and like more loving towards her because they had more intimate time that they can share with each other. Because on my end, I'm working, I have this business that I'm running, and I have 4 children, that I'm caring for. But where I stand today as a woman, I will never ever choose a poly marriage. I'm so totally against it. I mean, for some people, it can work, if everybody comes together, and know where everybody stand and work together towards that goal, as a village. But nowadays, most of the brothers aren't even looking at it like that. They're just looking for extra sex partners to have fun with. And yeah, that's my take on it.
Yeah, that that is not incorrect. That's why, I kind of went into like, okay, um, there's no, there has to be a stability. So like with the first person that wanted me to join in, so the way that I saw it is he was given every reason to let her go. If there was a book on what you should let your wife go for, the Bible, like almost she stole from him, lied to him, cheated on him. She ordered a home lie detector test just for him to have sex with her. He told me on their anniversary date, not to he asked her not to ask him for sex. She was way too involved in my business. She was just it was and she was a lot older than me, 12 years older than me. So I'm like, he then told me that they've been having issues, they've been having problems. Um, but he did not want to let her go. So I'm like, okay, it's something about like, just being wise is that that woman is technically not your favorite family member anyway, so there was a lot of trying to get me to be with him versus like actually wanting me to touch him. So that was another thing. Like he had many people involved, still do. There's a huge backlash from what he did not do, and what he did do. So this how the whole polygamous relationship thing is destroying women. And I'm not going to say all women because that's, not true. It's destroying uh those women who are involved in the polygamy in the first place. So, I'm sorry, I think I got a bite on my neck and I'm not for it. But anyway, So yeah, so a lot of the polygamy, like, men need to learn first and foremost how to control their emotions and how to control, and I'm not talking about crying. That's not the only emotion. I'm talking about anger. I'm talking about lust. I'm talking about love. I'm talking about trust. I'm talking about Emmanuel. I'm talking about the law. I'm talking about every emotion. I'm talking about what other emotions do they experience? All the emotions that they kind of do experience. Um, and they need to learn how to control it. So if you know that your first wife is lustful towards you and she tempts you a lot and she lies to you a lot, and you think that those upset you, then you have to learn how to keep that with her. Now, if your second wife barely talks to you and doesn't really comfort you, or she's more concerned and happy to live with you than the first one, then you have to learn how to control your emotions with her. So you can't get your feel good off of your second wife and think you can go to your first wife that you're not joyfully or happy to see and think that it's going to fulfill you. So what I was seeing in the first and second one was the desire to move way too fast, but also prove to me that they love their first wife. So that is something that I've seen enough is enough for me, which is trying to tell me, you asking me to marry you, and then immediately after that you want to show me that you love your first wife. So you send me pictures and you say she's a great mom, and you go into her hair, and she thinks that you will be a great sister wife, and it's like those are qualities about her that you like. So when I ask you what do you want with me, he really was just, well, you cute and you funny or something. It's like, okay, I'm cute and I'm funny right now, but can you hold that? Which is, can you understand that if I'm in a bad, and I don't get in bad moods, so I won't even speak that, but if I were to be experiencing, something that is deeper than necessary, are you gonna still want me because I was cute and funny? So it's like, that's not why you want me. You want me because you're lusting. So it's like, if you can cut it off immediately, you're just lusting for it, because actually desiring somebody is not going to have you, trying to cut them off. And then that's another part of the polygamy, is that if your first wife doesn't agree with it, you ready to stop. So it just helped me see, like, brothers got to sit down and ask themselves, what do you want? So I don't know what agreement you've made with your first wife to where she's so vividly by your mind to where you trying to make her happy with another woman. So it's something that I'm seeing, like, it's not justified in anything. It's not clean, it's not truthful, which is why it's not clean. It's not beneficial. It hurts people. It gives everybody the understanding that you don't listen. It tells people you don't love yourself. Um, it definitely doesn't make any sense. So at first, I'm like, if he wants it, don't disagree, because a house divided cannot stand. But that second woman has the say so. Like, as far as I'm concerned today, like, maybe back in the day, a dad would just, if he can pay the dowry, then he'll let him have it. He's able to look at her like she's good. So, the woman might be knowing, well, his first wife is obviously jealous a lot. So we just gonna skip past that and go into affliction. And that's where it's not wise. But that second wife today, she has the choice. If this is not something that I can handle, this is not something that I want to do, you don't have your house in order, You don't have your emotions together. So if you're prone to getting jealous of your first wife often, then I don't think you should want another wife until you figure that out. Because the Bible gives you clear instructions on, if somebody is being in jealousy over something that doesn't even exist. So you got to understand, is your husband lusting or is your husband in needing? So the woman is a helpmeet, but what does he need help with? So if he is going to take a first wife, he needs to assign her to a help position in his life. And then the second wife, he needs to assign her to a position in his life. The third wife, so on and so forth. Does he need help with bills? If he need help with bills, your first wife should be able to help you get a better job. Your first woman is for helping you on those things, especially if you need help paying for her house. So it's like a lot of things that are within it that people don't pay attention to. But I know a man who told, like, the first man who wanted me to be a part of that. He um he actually told me that he has enough money to what you call it, to put all his wives in their own house. Con, I do not understand what happened, but he then moved from that, and he had bought a house in Florida, and he wanted me to live there. So I'm like, I'm not really choosing Florida. It's not really somewhere I want to live. But I guess so. So technically, he was renovating it. He then told me that he put a panic room in it. And I'm like, okay, so with putting a panic room, that's not something that I desired. Then he said, I put a kitchen down here. Then he went on and on. So I'm like, okay, you didn't went from like trying to get me to see it and not to, kind of just going off. So now he has moved his wife, the first wife, into the vision of me and him in the one house. So I never saw that he would really be at that house with me because he has so many other houses. So it's something about, like, he wasn't reducing her raiment, his first wife, because they apartment hop a lot. So they don't really have a house. She's never had a house with him. They always lived in apartments. So she wasn't getting a reducing. Now, if before he met me and she was in a house, as long as he don't take her house away, it's not reducing her raiment. So if she was in a two-bedroom house and he put me in a four-bedroom, it doesn't matter because the first wife is okay with her two-bedroom house versus the four-bedroom. So anyway, then he brought another woman into it, and it's like you want three women in one house. And it's like, and it's like, it's not righteously gonna happen, or anyway gonna happen, but it's kind of like there for me. So a lot of the times, like, if a brother can go from courting just you to thinking that he's courting another woman but just takes her, it's like, where is the polygamy at? Where is the righteousness of it? There is none. So technically, there's places that he had to technically hear it on his own. But I guess many men don't understand how to use these women to help you. So getting another wife because you need help, that's technically not, like, if you needed help, like, let's say he got disabled, right? So, I mean, you would need to love her anyway, but you would need to tell her, she would obviously see you disabled. Or if you have a mental disability, you need somebody, maybe you really need somebody to handle your finances, which is, you have the money, but you need somebody that can be your accountant, or you need a wife to help you have a baby. One can't do what the other one can do. So I guess it's just the places where you can't handle your own lot. And I guess that's how I was seeing it. So I'm like, the polygamy, it needs to be reiterated that brothers need to learn how to get married single mindedly. So you can't get married with the wishes of your first wife in your heart with you, which is why it's difficult for them to hear God today. So I'm like, I don't feel bad or horrible, but I do know the Most High wants it like that. At the end of the day, it is His will. But as far as the righteousness of God, it's not in Him to think that you are married. So a lot of the places that people get caught up and get scorned at is that they technically begin to watch too many videos about it too. So if they've been conditioned to think that they are good if they get another or get another wife, then a lot of brothers will just move like that. So that's my, I know I've been talking for a long time, but did you guys have anything you wanted to add?
I don't.
Okay, all praises. Uh was that Amber or Queen?
Queen.
Okay. Amber, are you still with us?
Yeah. I guess I don't really have anything to like contribute. It's, I mean, I've experienced, people finding me on Facebook asking me to be like a second or third or fourth wife. Um, but I guess I don't have anything like significant to say. It would just like be
Okay.
like my observation.
I mean that, and that's okay too. It's more discussion based. So I don't want you to feel like you can't um engage as well.
Mm-hmm.
But the poly is something that I'm seeing women who are wanting to ruin themselves really go into their minds to give it over to them. So I guess
Yeah, I haven't seen it work in real life. Like the only thing or the only situation that I've seen where it seems like it's working is this couple I follow on Facebook. They're not in the truth though, but it's this man and his wife's name is like Afia Rise or something.
I know who you're
mm,
And
talking about.
yeah, like they're the only people that I've
oh
seen
wait,
where
are
it's
they
like
on
working
YouTube?
out. Yeah.
Okay. Is it like one was already? Do they have dread? Does one of them have dreads?
Yeah.
Okay,
Like
yeah,
one, his first wife, he has about like four kids with, or three kids, and then his new wife is having a baby.
okay, and she's younger, right?
Yeah.
Okay, how long have they been together? Because I do know one person, like I don't know them personally, but the first wife was very, 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 very clear with how she felt about the second wife in the beginning, but I do see them trying to get to accepting it. So to me, like that's a whole nother it was not a whole nother subject, but it helps to understand that if they haven't accepted it in the beginning, like, and it takes them a while to warm up to it, it's not ever what they sincerely desired or wanted.
Yeah. Like most people I see on social media who are in those situations, like one of them will like look like they have tears in their eyes and they're
Yeah,
trying to like accept it or something. But the couple that I'm talking about, like they seem like they're actually in agreement. But I've never seen that happen in real life though.
yeah, that's actually a really great observation because I have seen a brother in another camp, Sakari, with his wives, and I'm like, it doesn't really look like they're actually happy. So they were open and honest, which is something that I appreciated from the women, is that they technically aren't okay with it because they really don't look like it. But I have seen that too, where they're fighting back tears and they're trying to just put on a show. So there's one sister, I actually just asked her if she can come on. She just had a baby. I actually was her doula, and I just asked her if she could come on and share her story. Um, but she is currently dealing with it, and there's a lot of uh issues that are arising. So many times, like, brothers and sisters don't take into consideration that sometimes the woman is not really wanting to be unclean, because that's another fact of the matter, is him entering her, and then her, and then him entering another woman. So that kind of leads the discussion into like virgins and harlots, which is another like ranking or another part of marriage, which is brothers who take virgins versus brothers who take harlots. So if a virgin is something that um he has, then that's the highest sister anyway. Like, she can be your third wife, but if she's a virgin, she's ranking above the first wife. Especially if you took her, you bled, how, or she bled, you wedded her. That is what the Most High is actually going to be keeping his eye on, versus somebody who always threatens to get another husband, or steps out on you, or always argues with you, leaves you, has many, many trials with men, has been with many men. So I know a lot of men today, you don't even hear them trying to get virgin women. Like, they'll just stop at ouch, they'll just stop at just taking the woman, right? So she might have been in the world. Like, one sister was telling me that her husband wanted her to be with he wanted her to be okay with him getting a third wife, which technically would have been his sixth or seventh wife. But she was a lesbian, so like actively a lesbian or bisexual, there you go. So he wanted to marry that lady and then throw it off on his wife, and told his wife that they have to help her. So it's like, a lot of the times, like, the man who actually wanted me to marry him, he told me that if it didn't work out between us, that he just was going to forget about it, right? So he did not do anything like that at all. But that third or the second wife that he did take. Oh, hold on. Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So that third wife that he did take, or not the third wife, the second wife, but it's technically like his third or fourth or fifth wife. He ended up what did he do? He ended up telling me that he wanted me and her to work in the he had like a some land, and he wanted in Wisconsin, and he wanted me and her to make YouTube videos together and show other women how to plant crops. So it's no, that sound like slavery, and now I'm seeing why these sisters think they in slavery, because why your first wife not doing that? So it's like, it's not bad, it's just like, why she, like, that's her friend too. So this other woman he wanted me to do that with is his first wife friend. So it's like, why you not having them work in the fields together? Because that's all I heard. So it's like, if, like, we wasn't married, so if you want to do what you want to do, by all means you can do that. It don't got nothing to do with me. Like, at the end of the day. But when he said that, it's like, what is the brother really thinking about? What do he actually really need? So How was I gonna say? So anyway, so he technically had wished for like he so it's like wanting to grab up these sisters and then try to teach them how to be righteous. That's not something you really get involved with, because you can't expect your first and second and third and fourth and fifth and sixth and seventh wife to be flawless and without fault. But you want to take a woman that's literally like a charity case, right? In the kingdom, that's a charity case, because it's literally so this woman was throwing her butt at him. She was seducing him. Like, he was telling me all kind of things that she was doing at the establishment. She was pulling her shirt down, pulling her pants, like, just doing all manner of all appearance of evil. And then he come telling me that he wants me to help him, or he wants me and her to make YouTube videos. But I haven't seen his first wife make no YouTube videos. So he said that was going to be a part of the proving. Why would free labor be a part of proving? Because that's what he was technically, trying to go into, which is uh if you don't get, so he was what you call it, so he told me that he told me before that he was gonna plant lettuce and sell it to the local restaurants. Now he probably forgot that he did, but when he said that, it's like, not me. So I won't be there. I mean, you can still do it, but you just not gonna do it with me. So I've been waiting to see him and her do the YouTube videos. And I'm not trying to be funny, but it's something about, if it is something you was gonna do, then you need to keep your word and actually do that. So that, like, polygamy, like, it get their minds in places like, what do that have to do with the Bible? Like, how you want to prove if the women can do laborious work, which is what I was seeing, because it's like tilling the garden, that is for the man. Now the woman can pull the crops up, which is good, and she can help the man if he really needed. But wanting two women to, and I don't have no background in doing this, right? So it's not like it's something you've seen me or her do. You just want somebody to plan it, because he said he was going to do that for 6 months. And it's like his business money one track mind be having him thinking that he finna be with the Lord's, like, chosen women, because he technically wasn't even serious about it. So he didn't prove her for the 6 months like he said he would. I think he actually laid down with her like 3 weeks after he told me that. Um, and that's probably what it is. So with the polygamy, so anyway, back to the marriage or the virgin situation. So a lot of the times brothers are trying to also keep a law that is written for virgins. So many things cannot apply to people who aren't virgins. So the dowry and the what else? The what it means when you take a virgin. Men held that to a high regard. It still is a very high regard. Um, is that the virgins are technically always going to be ranked very high above, so I guess a lot of the times people weren't really in the understanding of it. But if the most high saves you from those situations, then there's really like not much that we can change. So then a lot of the times brothers take harlots. So that was one thing for me as well. Is like, you can't really take a harlot as a wife and want your first or second wife to accept her, because she's not accepted in law. A harlot is the death of anything that treats that above righteousness. So when you try to place her needs above anything, um it basically gets you out the spirit. So a lot of the times, a lot of the things that haven't really gave their mind over to it is what I'm actually trying to get everybody to understand. So not to keep on rambling, not rambling at all, but um where would you guys say the desire for virgins today versus harlots is actually being honored? Or like if you have a precept, don't ever be afraid to bring those out. I'm actually gonna grab a precept as well about the harlot.
I mean, I only ever see the virgin thing being upheld by men who were in the truth. Like men of the world don't care about that.
That's right. And then there's also like that aspect of like in the truth. So like a man in the truth is wanting a virgin. You know, like truth be told, he has to want a virgin. And then a man who is not in the truth is gonna desire a harlot. You know, so that's actually a very valid point that you kind of brought out.
I
Um,
mean, that's the only way that, well, I guess, okay, in my case, that's the only way that I came into the truth not a virgin is because the person that I laid with first didn't value that,
right.
even though
And
they were like over 10 years older than me. So you would think someone, I was 20, they were over 10 years older than me. You would think that a man that age would like value that.
right. Oh, oh yeah, exactly. And I think like the subject of virgin is going to be virgin is or virginity is, as long as you have if the man has not known you and you have not bled onto the bay, you're still a virgin. Um Now, if he spills his seed, and not to get in your business, but like for me, I don't actually see that I am not a virgin, because even in the spirit, um, which is where it actually is held and kept in everything, is that every woman of the Lord that is very spiritual, very clean, uh, very keeping the law is a virgin, right? So I know you said the man that you were with, he did not value that. Um, where I guess I would say um were you did he copy what is it? Did he consummate? There you go. Did he consummate your marriage?
Um, I don't understand the question.
So like, di- okay. Did Did he seal it? There we go. So did he spill his seed? Because it's very important for sisters to be aware on whether or not like it actually happened or it did not happen. Because a lot of the times men who spill their seed, they believe that that's marrying, and it's not marrying. So like there's one woman that I used to talk to who said that her husband used to spill seed a lot. Like he's avoiding three, he said he doesn't want to for 3 years. So it's like, well, technically you're not really married until that day he decides to do that. So up until then you're just kind of fornicating, because like where are you, like where are you putting your spilled seed? You know what I'm saying? So I guess that's just how I've been looking at it. And I know Queen says she, oh, Okay. Sorry about that. How do you? Oh wow. Okay, so I'll probably just stop sharing. Okay, so yeah, Queen says she'll be right back. Or did she put something else in the chat? Okay. All right. So yeah, so I guess that's probably the point that I've been making is the conversation about polygamy versus single marriage. So I guess like with the single marriage, everybody's heart kind of feels a little bit more content. You feel a little bit more clear minded. You feel a lot more appreciated, a lot more loved, um, a lot more uh ready to also like help your husband, right? So I guess something that I want to ask, and I know she says she'll be right back. Um, where would you say the desire to help your husband can actually come from?
Sorry, I'm in the store.
Oh, that's
Um,
okay.
I would say like the desire to help him comes from his desire to actually build himself and him actually trying to like do something for like the kingdom and the most high, because like who wants to follow someone who's not about anything?
Right. Um, so I guess like for a lot of women, that's probably the very best answer. Is that where is his desire to actually help you? So and when I say to help you is like what does he want to do to better himself? Okay, there we go.
Yeah, that resonates with me because in the past, like I've been in a relationship and then I'm like working on the person's resume, trying to help them find a job. And I just feel like they should want to help themselves. Like I want someone who's resourceful.
Can you see that? Let me see what is this doing. Okay, there we go. Okay, yeah. So I guess that's actually probably a very great answer too. Is somebody who wants to give their heart to the Most High God and give their life to Him. Because ooh, oh, hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, hold on. I did not do that. Okay. Yeah. So, somebody who is desiring to help themselves and be a better brother or family member, um, for the Most High's kingdom, obviously, but also for the light of the situations. So let me see if I can get this thing up.
But honestly, I feel like that's just kind of a part of being a black woman. I don't know if other people have that experience, but I really, I mean, I don't know if that happens with other races, but it seems like it happens often with us, where the woman has to take on extra responsibility as far as like developing the man's career.
Yeah, right. Being that super, super. woman for him, but like not for him because we have to be keeping it. I mean, okay, so I'll say this with him in the glory, there's nothing like this, but um if he is needing help returning back to the Most High God, then there is something that he has to give, which is his life to the Most High. So if it ever comes in his mind that he hasn't been serving God, then it's a lot of affliction for him. So you have to be knowing that there's nothing else to serve. So helping keeping that in his remembrance, but also afflicting with him in his death is a hard trial for everybody. But if you believe that you haven't been serving God, then or the Most High God, then it's a hard judgment, and it's a definitely necessary for you to die. So with the being taught that there is a certain time that you will serve God, it's not really the truth. So everything he made is to serve him. Every single thing that he is making and that he is giving us is um for the completion of the law. So I guess it's just they're like reiterating the law of love, the law of gravity, the law of physics, like any law that can help him if he loves to seek knowledge, like helping him stay there. If he loves to know wisdom, definitely helping him to stay there. But a lot of the times, the man of the Lord has to know the value, um of the woman that he's with. So he can know the value of a woman, but he has to know the value within his woman. So if his woman is very serious about holding the law into his skin or in their flesh, in their spirit, or through the spirit, then that's something he would have to continue to hold as very high regard in his life. And if he has a woman who is at his failing or helps him to fall, then if he thinks that he's worthy of death, that's what he will meet. So you can't, like, an Edomite woman is not valued where a Israelite sister is valued, which is why a angel is not valued the same as a demon, right? So a lot of the people who are married need to remember the value of who they are. Like, a lot of the times men, there I don't know one brother. Well, I won't say it like that, but brothers who have what do you call it? Brothers who teach like, oh, the Esau's want you, Esau after you, the devil's after you, the Satan, all of those different like fear mongering tactics. Um, Brothers and sisters who try to teach that uh definitely don't understand the psychological effect that has on you, because you have to be teaching that God wants them or God has them, and God is, the Most High. Elohim is who wants them. All of that, all of that, what do you call it, that back and forth, that bickering, all of that places, or all of those places that give them the illusion that they're being watched, or that they're giving their minds over, is to help them get clean. So technically many times the people who extrally watch out for sinners and watch out for rapists and watch out for satanic things and watch out for cursed things and watch out for any and everything that could harm them. It's a huge psychological trauma, and they begin to live like that. So they begin to increase in wickedness, secrecy, fornications, all appearance of adultery, just things that shouldn't be an everyday speech. So I think a woman has to understand, or does understand, that what she says out of her mouth is life or death to her husband. Now, as his one flesh, he will seek her a lot for help. So the word, if eaten on his tongue, is very detrimental. So what he says out of his mouth, um, what he what he says out of his mouth, he has to kind of keep in mind that she is hearing him. So if he has the word adultery on his tongue every day, like that word comes back on him, or he has the word cursed, like he keeps those words in the dark in his life. So therefore, um, he has to be aware of that. So a lot of the time, sisters got to be a little bit more hands on. So if you know that it's the Feast of Unleavened Bread and he wants to go to camp, or he wants to go to a meeting, or he want to even go to a job that leavens him, you got to be that tower against death, and really know, if you a tower against death, your wisdom is above his. It's like a child, like a baby, like a literal baby that begins to need its mom. And technically with that part, he has to figure out where he is at, and really, help himself. So a technical issue that women do experience is the man doesn't want to know her opinion, so he doesn't want to know her. So brothers gotta keep that in their remembrance too, is that knowing your wife goes beyond the physical. So it's a spiritual and psychological connection as well, and a soul connection. So not only do you begin uh to know her physical body, you begin to know her soul body and her spirit body, and those actual reasons for exactly why people are carrying certain things. So what was I going to say? So if you know your husband, it's a high chance that he will get leavened. um he needs to listen to you and stay at home, and really believe in the Most High God too. That's the best way that anybody could actually help their husband and help their wife, and really just kind of really help who they are. So I guess, like what Amber was saying, he has to want to help himself, right? So he has to have that vision of where he wants to help you, or where he wants to help God, and where he wants to really stay in the Most High Creator, the Creator of all things. So I guess that's and I know I've said a mouthful, but that was the Holy Spirit all the way. Um, okay. So another I guess, like, we've kind of touched on, what does that do for your salvation? A polygamous marriage or a single marriage. Now we did go over where poly single marriages can do what they have to do for the kingdom, and where single marriages are literally a lot more cleaner, um, as far as your spirit and soul are going. Let's see. So the man and his children. So I guess I just want to touch on that part. Are men with children more desired in the Hebrew Israelite community? And what does that mean for the Hebrew Israelite community? Wait, for the Hebrew Israelite community, is a woman with children above the other woman without children? Are barren women better for your salvation? So, this is very, very deep. Is that the children are actually the evidence of a marriage? Definitely, I would definitely say that. Um, ouch. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. I got something on the back of my neck. I don't know what bit me, but I'm finna go. I'm gonna have to go get some for it. Ouch. Okay. So, are men who are in belief that they are practicing the faith, who have children, does that affect the level of which that they are desired? So, a man with a child obviously has a baby mama or multiple baby mothers, which can come with a lot of issues for your marriage, and not just for your marriage but for your soul. Like, I know Queen. Oh, go ahead, Amber.
Oh, I was gonna say, for me, it's kind of been something that I've been afraid of, as far as like a man with children, just because one brother I was talking to, he has custody of his children, and so um, of course, like in this system, when a man gets custody of his kids, like it has to be pretty bad with the mom, or the mom has to be in a pretty bad situation. So I didn't want to put myself into anything dangerous with her being upset about that and like, coming back and, she's like, that's my child and I don't want another woman raising my kid or something like that. And then also the concern is with a man who has children, is he still like involved with the children's mother, even though she isn't following the Most High? And what kind of influence is she going to have on the kids and how they view like my relationship with the father. So that's just been my experience as far as like my concerns with that.
Yeah, definitely. I've always said that uh a I will not marry a man that has a child, because I just can't and won't afflict with him right there. A lot of the times he can be so called out the spirit or just not feeling the best in a place that I won't help him. So if it is an issue with his wife, then he has to kind of keep his light over there. But I would definitely say anybody that's coming as without children is going to be a lot more desired. So if a man has the money, like, you have to eliminate the idea of money and him being able to take care of you, because money can't do nothing for his soul or his spirit. So he can have all the money in the world, but his soul is still connected to his wife and their children. And so it can cause a issue in their souls and in the blood, and it just doesn't really help them a whole lot. Or yeah,
For me, that kind of goes back to like the whole. Maybe I'm going too far with this, like the whole virgin thing. But some brothers, like they were with their baby's mother, and then she was a virgin, and then he mistreated her before he started following the Most High. So then there's like negative energy in that relationship between the two of them. And so he's trying to fix his life, but she's still dealing with like the trauma of how he mistreated her before he was trying to do the right thing.
right.
So I don't know. Maybe I'm getting too specific, but I've seen it a couple of times.
No, that's not that's not too specific because he would have to technically make sure that everybody is in the understanding. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to see what bit me. There's a dead wasp that I saw this morning. Um, so I'm thinking that must have bit me while I was asleep, y'all.
Mm.
And yeah, cause I
Do
don't
they die
know.
after they sting people?
You know what? I have no clue, but I noticed it this morning, like earlier today. Um, but I'm not gonna get my heart over to it. But I guess, yeah, I don't know. It says some apple cider vinegar will help it. But it's on the back of my neck, so I think I don't know. I really think no, but yeah, I just thought I'd share that because no way. Oh, okay. Actually, mm, hold on, y'all, because I don't know. Okay.
Shalom, sisters. Salakia. I'm actually at the grocery store right now, so I can't really focus that much on listening. But how long are you ladies are going to be on?
Well, this is part one, so part two is tomorrow. I know a couple people said they'll be at part two, so we're probably gonna wrap it up right here. And I'm probably just gonna go in here and get some apple cider vinegar and put on my little wound thing. But anyway, y'all, cause that thing started kind of bothering me. But anyway, we're gonna be
Yes,
live
that's good
again.
time.
Yeah, we're gonna be live again tomorrow. So we probably gonna wrap it up right now. People are still at work, so I'll probably change it to 7 p.m. Tomorrow in order for everybody to get off work and get home and stuff. So we'll pick it back up to so for me it's today at 7 p.m. Um we'll be picking that back up, which is like 1 a.m. For the Hebrew. I'm sorry.
No, I was talking to my friend.
Or 2 or 3 a.m. actually. Yeah. So we'll pick it back up tomorrow. So we can just wrap it up. I pray everybody be prosperous. I pray everybody stay positive, positive vibes. That you guys come tomorrow with some more discussions, ready to continue in the discussion. We'll probably just keep it how it is and keep going. Um, because there's a lot more topics that we didn't get to. So we'll pick back up tomorrow with the children, and go really more in depth in that particular area. But I hope you guys have a wonderful evening, and I hope to see you tomorrow. So it's the same link, it's same exact link. Um, you just click on it, and that'll be for tomorrow.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you. You ladies, take care. Enjoy the
Okay.
rest of your evening. Shalom.
Oh, you too.
Okay. Good
Shalom.
night.